story time with Mama G. Come and hear a story with me. Love who you want and be who you are. Learn these lessons and we'll go far. It's story time. Story time. Story time with Mama G. Hello, Liverpool! Oh, how I wish I was saying that in person, but as I'm not, well, thank you for having me. Now, last year, one of the highlights of my glittering career was getting to stand in the Museum of Liverpool atrium the day after Liverpool Pride and tell you all stories and share in pride with every single one of you. I had such an amazing day and I was so looking forward to doing it again. But I don't know if you've heard in the news, but there has been a little something going around which is prohibiting us gathering as one. So I'm going to look forward to doing it next year instead. But for now, I am so delighted that the gorgeous staff at the museum have invited me to come and share a Pride story time with all of you. Now, if we've not met before, my name is Mama G. How do you do? It's a pleasure to have you here. And what I do is I go all over the country normally, telling stories about being who you are and loving who you want. Now, today I've got some stories for you. I've got some songs for you. I've even got a little poem because I am cultured, you see. But my first story, I do need to teach you the actions. And they're to quite a familiar nursery rhyme, but it does take a little Mama G turn, so don't get too comfortable. But the actions go like this. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar. You see, that's where it takes its first turn, darlings. Let's try that all together. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar. Very nice. How I love you more and more. Let's try that one. How I love you more and more. And let's put them all together. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar. How I love you more and more. Very nice, but there's more, don't panic. Up above the sky so high, you're the apple of my eye. Let's try that bit all together. Up above the sky so high, you're the apple of my eye. Very nice. And then we go back to the beginning. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar. How I love you more and more. Oh, aren't you marvellous? Now, what I want to know is who's feeling brave? Oh, good, because we are about to try it with some music. Hands at the ready. Here we go. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar, how I love you more and more. Up above the sky so high, you're the apple of my eye. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar, how I love you more and more. Oh, wonderful. Give yourselves a round of applause. And now I think you are ready for my first story, which is called, and this will come as no surprise to you, it is called Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Roar. Little Roar was a dinosaur, the smallest you could imagine. But he wasn't terribly fearsome, though, which was terribly out of fashion. And he wasn't really called Little Roar. He was really called T-Rex. But rather than fight and tear things apart, he liked to cuddle other T-Rex's necks. And some dinos thought this funny. They thought him really strange. They thought, you can't be cute, you dummy, else the history books must change. But our tiny dino friend thought nothing of it for a while. He'd bounce and skip and jump and hop. Being cute does not make you smile. And Mummy Rex did her best to ensure that Little Roar never found out his nickname was mean. She'd sing him a rhyme every time the truth came close to being seen. And I think you all know how that rhyme goes, except this time we're dinosaurs. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar, how I love you more and more. Up above the sky so high, you're the apple of my eye. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar, how I love you more and more. But as little Roar grew up, the name grew with him too. And soon it wasn't just a name, it was who he was to boot. He became quiet, shy, and by the by, the other dinos never saw him. In fact, he became so invisible, you couldn't even say that they ignored him. But Mummy Rex wasn't worried. She knew he was her little star. And she knew that sometimes it takes a little time to work out who you are. Well, years went by and nothing happened. Then one day, just like that, a new T-Rex family moved in next door, and the mum wore outrageous hats. Little Roar swore he had never seen anything so delightful. Mummy Rex wasn't keen. She thought them obscene. In fact, she thought them frightful. But there was no denying these hats were a millinery miracle in action. They'd unleashed something in Little Roar, you could say a millinery passion. He spent hours recreating all the hats his neighbor would have on, and then he'd host a fashion show and invite the other dinosaurs along. Some would come to laugh and point, and some would take the mickey. But some would find that very soon getting in was very tricky. And after a while, Little Roar realized, well, he no longer heard the other dinos snigger. Thanks to his neighbor and her funny hats, his Little Roar was getting bigger. And his hats became so popular, he opened a store that bore his name. The hats went flying off the shelves. Little Roar had a claim to fame. Now, the lady dinos loved his hats, but the men were much less keen. Little Roar wore them, of course, but pause. What has he just seen? At the latest fashion show, something amazing has just happened. A boy Rex has walked in wearing a hat, and it's one that Little Roar fashioned. Well, of course they talk and have a chat, and of course the talk is all about hats. They smile and laugh and have a little flirt. Well, why not? Flirting never hurts. And Mummy Rex is watching. Oh, she can't believe what she is seeing. But gosh, it makes her proud. Whoever thought that one day her Little Roar would be so loud? She sees him there fully formed, finally knowing who he is. He's the star that she had born, but all the burning bright is his. And now the name Little Roar has faded. Oh, it's faded oh so far. Because when you work out who you are, you'll twinkle, twinkle like a star. And I think one more time, just for Little Roar. Here we go. Twinkle, twinkle, little Roar, how I love you more and more. Up above the sky so high, you're the apple of my eye. Twinkle, twinkle, little Roar, how I love you more and more. Oh, wonderful. Oh, I hope you enjoyed that story because I absolutely love it. And I mean, I would say that because I did write it. but it's a rather cute story, I think. And now it's time for the song that I promised. This is a song. This is a song. This is a song that was written just for me, yes? So we've got no copyright issues. And it's about how we are all wonderful. You can't live your life in just one color. You can't have the moon without the sun. A football team needs more than one player, and you can't be a kid without having fun. People will tell you you're too darn bright. People will tell you to fade to gray. But I say fizz, pop, sparkle and glow. Let your color shine and show them the way. It takes every color to make a rainbow. It takes just one sparkle to make a star. If you fill the world with every color, we can all become the stars that we are. You can't have the spring without the summer. You can't have a shark without its bite. You can't have a band without a drummer. And sometimes it's dark before it is light. People will tell you you're too darn bright. People will tell you to fade to gray. But I say fizz, pop, sparkle and glow. Let your color shine and show them the way. It takes every color to make a rainbow. It takes just one sparkle to make a star. If we fill the world with every color, we can all become the stars that we are. Alright, now, what I'm going to try and do now is rap. To make honey, you start with a bee. To make a forest, you start with a tree. To make a world full of rainbows and stars, you gotta start with Mama G. Alright, join in now, here we go. To make honey, you start with a bee. To make a forest, you start with a tree. To make a world full of rainbows and stars, you gotta start with... You got it. It takes every color to make a rainbow. It takes just one sparkle to make a star. If you fill the world with every color, we can all become the stars that we are. It takes every color to make a rainbow. It takes just one sparkle to make a star. If you fill the world with every color, we can all become the stars that we are. We can all become the stars that we are. Oh, isn't that a marvelous song and written just for me? I am so honoured. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you didn't, well, it's over now. Now, for my next story, I'm going to tell you the very first story I ever told out loud. But in order to do it, I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need you to do the sound effects, or the SFX, if you will. Yeah. Now, the way this is going to work is when the word or the sound that I need you to say appears on the screen, I just want you to do it as loud as you possibly can. All right. Should we have a practice? Here's your first word. Did you do it? No, shall we? I tell you what, let's try again. But this time, let's have all the grown-ups joining in as well. I mean, I'm a panto dame, darling. She knew this was going to happen. Let's try again. Here's the word. Oh, that was wonderful. Then I think you are definitely ready for the story, which is called The Fairies, Fran and Vera. Boy, oh boy. Fabulous Fran was a fairy. Vile Vera was one too. They lived together in fairyland where dreams seem to come true. Fabulous Fran does good things. Oh, she loves to make you smile. While Vera has her wicked ways. That's why they call her vile. Now, good things come in many forms, like deeds and open hearts. And Fran knew this very well. You see, she was very smart. But vile Vera thought differently. She wanted the world to be bad. She wanted it full of hate, not love. And she wanted to make us mad. Coffee? Asked Vera at breakfast. Oh, don't mind if I do, said Fran. And what have you got to do today? Oh, I've got a plan. A plan? Said Fran. Oh, that can't be good. What are you up to, Vera? The coffee poured, our villain implored that Fran move a little nearer. You know, silly Billy, whose address is the Fair Lawns Fairyland. He told me something the other day I'm struggling to understand. He's fallen in love. Oh, what's wrong with that? Said Fran, bubbling over with joy. Here's the fact. My problem's that he's fallen in love with a boy. A boy? Oh, boy, that's wonderful. Fran had been waiting to hear news like this for years. But, said Vera with a tut, I'm going to make sure this ends in tears. Everyone knows that love is for a boy and girl to share. And if I have my way, by the end of this day, of this fact Billy will be well aware. With a wave of my wand, Billy should see just what his life could be. So Vera gave a quick curse, and Billy landed face first amongst their jam and coffee. Fran screamed. Vera laughed. Billy's face was in the butter. Now to find you the perfect girl. Not words you want Vera to utter. A fanfare played, and in a glitter haze, Millie walked into their lives. Oh, she's pretty, said Billy. Yes, I am, and I'd be the perfect wife. When it comes to looks, I'm by the books, Billy said. Well, that can't be disputed. And what about you? You're handsome too. Millie thought she and he were well suited, but they weren't. For one reason, and I bet you all know why. You'd be my perfect wife, Millie, if only you were a guy. And just like that, Millie vanished away in a puff of smoke. Oh, said Fran. Oh, I tell you what, I can't wait to meet your bloke. But vile Vera's villainous ways continued with spells and drama until there appeared, and they were amazed, a fairy-friendly llama. Have you lost your mind? Said Fran, kindly offering the llama some tea, when through the door burst Lily. Don't worry, she's with me. I'm a llama farmer, and this one escaped. Oof, she's got a mind of her own. Mind you, so have I, they say. That's why I live alone. Then, to the llama's alarm, it was in Lily's arms and being taken out of the house. Lily made the llama look so light, you thought the llama might have been a mouse. Third time lucky, cried Vera, as Fran saw one of her worst fears. Vile Vera was getting so angry, steam was coming out her ears. Her face went red. Her blood was boiling, and then, before they knew it, she flew into 1,000 pieces. Oh, look, said Fran. She blew it. The pieces fell back into place, and this they thought was strange. instead of seeing Vera's face, they saw her rearranged. "What the what?" Billy exclaimed, and Fran did much the same. "Are you all right, Vera, dear? If indeed Vera's still your name." "Oh, of course it's not. I'm now called Dot. Do you think you'd get along with me?" "Well," said Billy, "well, I have always thought I could be a friend of Dorothy's." Dot looked at Fran askance, and frankly Billy wondered why. "Is that all I am to him?" she said. "A friend?" I may just cry. And so the waterworks began. Tears poured forth from Dot's face. "I'm very clever, you see. I've got a degree in gender politics and race." And Fran dabbed Dot's eyes with a hanky and said, "Oh gosh, oh, you are very smart, but not enough to know why you've not got Billy's heart." And Dot howled. And Dot wailed. And her tears became a river, until Dot washed herself away, and all that was left was Vera. "Oh, enough's enough," said Fran. "Oh, I have to intervene. Forcing someone to be something they're not is very, very mean. Billy is a good boy. Oh, and he loves a good boy too. And honestly, Vera, who Billy loves isn't up to you." "Oh, yes, it is," said Vera, shooting her wand at Fran. "Oh, no, it's not," said Fran, shooting her wand right back. "Is, isn't, is, isn't." They were both under attack. Billy stood there, eyes agog, and gulped down to the floor. Sparks were flying around the room. Who knew what was in store? Then there was a crash. And then a flash. And then a silence fell. Between them, the fairies had magicked a man that Billy knew quite well. The man was holding a library's worth of books. To Fran, that was clever and strong. Well, Vera just said, "Oh, he's pretty." And she pretty well wasn't wrong. Billy's eyes were wider than ever, and his smile was from ear to ear. "Sam, my love, oh, it's good to see you. I'm really glad you're here." The boys hugged, held hands, and beamed with pride. And for the first time, Vera got it. Love should never have to hide, and no one has the right to stop it. "Well, I suppose that's one more at the table for tea," said Fran. Fabulously. So that was my story, The Fairies, Fran and Vera. It is almost time for me to go, but don't panic. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. Just search for @MamaG Stories if you are in desperate need of a Mama G fix. But I hope that really soon, really very soon, I hope that I am standing in that gorgeous atrium of the Museum of Liverpool, entertaining you all and also confusing the people who are walking in and not expecting me to be there. Because I do miss you all so much and I cannot wait to come back. Now, before I go, I am going to leave you with a poem that I wrote last year for Pride in London. So I've probably done it a few times at the museum already, but I do like it and I hope you do too. It is called A Rainbow Poem. Everybody loves rainbows. I know that to be true. I mean, I definitely do, and I bet that you do too. Because rainbows can mean lots of things to lots of communities. And this, I think, is what the rainbow means if you're LGBTQIA+. Red is for life, a gift that we all share. We're all leading different ones, but without life, we'd be nowhere. And orange is for healing, for when life gets a little rough. Sometimes you have to fight for your rights, but it's the fight that makes you tough. And it's worth it, because then you know as you can shine bright. And that's why the yellow in the flag always stands for sunlight. And in the sun you bloom and grow, so our next colour is green for nature. Because being you is the most natural thing you've been. And it's worth it, because when you're you, you're wonderful. You're a walking work of art, and that's something so magical, turquoise must have played a part. And as for indigo, you know, well, that's my favourite, that's the tea. Because when you've been through all the colours of the rainbow, you'll find serenity. So, no matter where you find yourself on the rainbow flag today, just remember that every colour is wonderful, and so are you in every way. Happy Pride.